Frank Turner.
Hello.
As a performer, you've kind of done it in a way that you haven't relied on mainstream radio. You've done it by building fans, by working bloody hard, essentially.
I mean, it's important. I feel like it's important for me to say that I have had some kind of support from some people at radio stations and magazines and stuff like that, and I don't want to be completely kind of dismissive of that. Mike Davies at Radio 1 in particular, Steve Lamacq and people like that. But yeah, I mean, I grew up idolising bands like Black Flag and the Dead Kennedys and Minor Threat, and not only that, but also, I mean, I started out with the DIY hardcore scene in London, not because of any particular affiliation to that idea necessarily, but just because that was the kind of music I like, and those were how those bands went around doing things. So, and I sort of got involved, you know, I booked a tour when I was 16, I put on a show when I was 16.
Right, stop there. Take note, everybody. Do it yourself. As you sing in a very British way, and lots of the lyrics use a very sort of British delivery and context. How is that? Is that something that you've actually had to sort of temper, or when you think about a global audience, or you just go, this is made in Britain, this is...
It shoves me further down that route. I mean, the thing is, and I've spent some time with various people as deciding that I'm some kind of nationalist because of all this, which is bullshit, because nationalism's a stupid idea. But it's more just that, you know, I love Springsteen. Springsteen sings about New Jersey in a very affectionate way, but I mean, not always. I mean, quite a lot of his music's about trying to get the hell out of there, and I've always loved that, and I mean, popular music, in particular folk music, is based in a sense of place. Do you know what I mean? And singing in my own accent is something I'm quite kind of militant
idea
about.
That you are part entertainer, so there's an artist, but there's a part of you that is there to give a crowd an experience.
Yeah, well, particularly when you're charging people money to sit in the room and listen to it, at that point in time you are an entertainer, whether you like it or not. And if you don't want to be one, don't play gigs.
There you go.
In my opinion. Blacking in and out in a strange flat in East London. Somebody I don't really know just gave me something to help settle me down, to stop me from always thinking about you. And you know your life is heading in a questionable direction when you're up for days with strangers and you can't remember anything except the way you sounded when you told me you didn't know what I should do. Hey! Long road up to recovery from here, long way back to the light. Long road up to recovery. To making it right. So I've been waking in the morning just like every other day, and just like every boring blues song I get solo by the pain, and so I fumble through your figure in the darkness just to make it go away.
Do you think social media helps spread the message that way? Because you're playing much bigger venues as you go back this time.
The thing that I find interesting about social media is that it's kind of like a it breaks down the fourth wall. Do you know what I mean? One of the things I always thought was great about punk rock was that idea of iconoclasm, the idea that music is supposed to be a conversation between a community of people. It's not supposed to be about this kind of higher caste of weirdos who show up in a limo and deign to give you an hour and a half of their time before disappearing in the private jet. You know, I'm not interested in that. That's meaningless to me. And it's kind of cool. I like the way that I feel like most people have a better idea of what life in a band is like now, thanks to social media and a better understanding of how the music industry works, and I think that's cool.
I was just wondering, is there any chance you could give a kind of overview of a song right from the initial idea to the finished product? What would you normally do?
So, I mean, I think that kind of the initial thing is always kind of, it's about sparks, do you know what I mean? It's about little flashes, and you just have kind of basic ideas, and it's not a whole song. It's not like, or at least for me, it's not like you suddenly wake up in the middle of the night and go, ha-ha, here's a finished song. But you have just something that catches the imagination, you know, whether it's kind of messing around with the guitar and coming up with something interesting, or whether it's a phrase or a word that kind of means something interesting to you, or in the best instances, it's both.
Everybody please give it up for Frank Turner.
As I've listened to Frank for years, it was nice to actually hear him talk about all the stuff I've listened to the last couple of years and how he's gone about writing it, so I really enjoyed. I think probably the highlight was hearing him play and disappeared, and then while playing, talking through the process of how he wrote it. I thought that's really interesting to hear how it was put together and different stuff like that.
It's a good opportunity for students to meet people and, you know, network a little and learn things that they might not already know, you know.